Hello and welcome. As you continue your journey with Europe Hotel School, we're going to dive into a really fundamental shift happening in hotel marketing. We've talked about how to communicate with our guests, but today we're going to focus on something that's maybe even more important: who we should be talking to in the first place. We're talking about moving beyond the old playbook and into the much smarter, more proactive world of predictive marketing.
So let me just start with a question. What if, instead of just waiting around for guests to hopefully discover your hotel, you could actually go out and find your absolute ideal guests first? I mean, really think about that. This is the core promise of predictive marketing, and believe me, it is a complete game changer for how we acquire new guests. All right, let's break this shift down. For decades, marketing has been reactive. We basically put an ad out there and wait for someone to show interest. But the new way, it's all about being proactive. We actively go out and seek the right people. Think of it like this. You could just sit in a boat and wait for a fish to bite, or you could have a map that shows you exactly where the best fish are swimming. So on one hand, you've got traditional marketing. This is where you target people who are already actively searching for a hotel. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, you're competing in an incredibly crowded, noisy, and really expensive space. But predictive marketing, it's a totally different approach. It goes out and finds the perfect guest based on their entire profile, not just what they typed into a search bar. This lets you build a direct connection way before your competition even knows that person exists.
Okay, so you're probably asking, how in the world does this actually work? How do we find these perfect guests who aren't even looking for us yet? Well, the secret sauce is using artificial intelligence to identify brand new audiences that look and act just like your hotel's very best customers. We call these lookalike guests.
The entire process starts with the data you already have. The AI begins by identifying what we call your hero guests. So, who are these people? Simple. They are your most valuable, most profitable past customers. I want you to think about your hotel right now. Who are the guests booking the premium suites, the ones getting massages at the spa, the ones making reservations at your fine dining restaurant? Those are your hero guests. They are the model for your future business.
The process itself is actually pretty straightforward and elegant. First, as we said, the AI pinpoints those hero guests from your internal data. Second, it goes out and analyzes absolutely massive external data sets. We're talking everything from flight patterns and luxury spending habits to all sorts of digital footprints. And then finally, based on all that analysis, it builds what's called a lookalike audience. This is a whole new group of potential guests who perfectly match the profile of your very best customers. And this is really the key to its power, its precision. A lookalike audience isn't some vague demographic like women aged 35 to 50. No. These are individuals who share the exact characteristics and behaviors of your most profitable guests. They might not even know your hotel exists yet, but their profile, it's practically screaming that they're going to love what you have to offer.
So, you see, it's not just about who you reach, it's also about when you reach them. This proactive approach gives you a massive strategic advantage because you can connect with these potential guests at the absolute earliest stage of their travel planning.
I want you to think about the typical journey a traveler takes. Most hotels, they spend all their money and energy fighting it out right here, in the booking phase. It's a bidding war against thousands of competitors. But predictive marketing, it lets you jump in way, way back here, in what we call the dreaming phase, often before they've even typed a single thing into Google. You get to plant the seed. You get to be the first great idea they have, so when they are finally ready to book, your hotel is already top of mind. So what's the real business outcome of getting there first? It's actually pretty simple: a much, much lower cost per acquisition, or CPA. Right, when you avoid those crazy bidding wars, you stop overpaying to shout in a crowded room. Instead, you're having a very targeted, very cost-effective conversation with someone who is highly likely to convert. But it doesn't stop there. This is where it gets really cool. The AI isn't static. It doesn't just find one audience and then call it a day. It is constantly adapting, in real time, to the changing needs and intentions of your potential guests. This is the power of what we call dynamic segmentation. Let me give you a classic example. Your traditional CRM system might label a guest as a business traveler, and just leave it at that. It's a static label based on one past trip. But what happens next year when that same person starts planning a big family vacation to Disney World? That business traveler label is now totally useless, right? The AI, on the other hand, sees them researching family-friendly resorts and dynamically resegments them on the spot.
It focuses on their current intent, not just their past behavior, which means your marketing is always relevant.
So how does it know when to adapt? Well, the AI is constantly scanning for what we call catalysts. It detects a sudden shift in intent, like our business travelers suddenly looking at theme parks. It can infer major life events from digital footprints. It analyzes new search behavior. Any of these signals can trigger an automatic resegmentation, making sure your marketing message is always perfectly timed.
All right, for any of you who want to be a hotel executive or a future general manager, this all comes down to one thing: the bottom line, the financial benefit. This incredible level of precision is all about maximizing your return on investment and making every single marketing dollar count. I mean, just look at the difference in efficiency. It's staggering. A traditional marketing budget inevitably has a huge amount of wasted spend. You're showing ads to people who will just never be your customer. It's like throwing money away. With a predictive approach, though, that waste is practically eliminated. Your budget is targeted only to those high-potential individuals, ensuring every dollar is working as hard as it possibly can to drive actual, measurable revenue. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought. We've seen how this incredible technology can find your perfect future guest before anyone else even knows they exist. So the real question for you, as the future leaders in this industry, is this. Once you have their undivided attention, what are you going to say? How will you be the first one to capture their imagination? Thank you.